Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new Cardfight Vanguard video for you guys today. And today we are talking about Daikaiser. So I did a video on Daikaiser when it first came out. I haven't looked at Dimensional Robo support since, but Daikaiser is here and his effect is spicy. And they're bringing back Legion to the game. Right, but it doesn't know what Legion is. We'll go over that as we start talking about the cards. But as we usually do, we're going to talk about the cards, talk about the build that I threw together, and then we're going to go jump into a game. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's jump in and let's talk about the deck. So real quick, we're going to run through the ride line. Now, there's two different versions of this deck that I've been told about. I went with the Daikaiser's cards just because new cards, want to try them out. But apparently there is a version of this deck where you use the Daikaiser ride line and do all the normal Daikaiser stuff, but then you ride into Daikaiser turn 3 and continue your plays from there on Daikaiser. Interesting idea. Good thing about it is some of the cards are name locked to Daikaiser, and while Daikaiser does have access to them once you Legion, with the other version of the deck where you want to use the Daikaiser support, you can spear right into Daikaiser turn 2 and always have access to those cards. But we're going to try out Daikaisers. So if you guys want to see me do a video on this version of the deck with the Daikaiser cards in the ride line, let me know in the comments and I'll work that out for you guys. But let's talk about what we got here. So first off, we have our starter, Dimensional Robo Cardfight. First off, can we talk about that card art? That card art is hard. Cardfight is necessary for the way that Daikaiser works. We'll talk about that in a second. Dimensional Robo Kaiser Greater. This is the grade 1 of the ride line. It is the exact same effect as Daikaiser. So when you ride on top of it, so when you ride this card, you get to search one base, reveal it, put it into your hand. Obviously, we love the base for this deck. And then if it's called from the soul, you get to give itself 5,000 power and all of your vanguards 5,000 power. Basically, when you're in Legion, I haven't really explained too much of it, but you'll have 2 vanguards. So you'll give each one of them 5k power. And in Legion, your powers get combined. So you'll have plus 10k to your vanguard on that swing. So it's actually not a bad grade 1. All right, grade 2, Dimensional Robo Kaiser. Act Vanguard once per turn. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 2 or greater, discard a card from hand. Choose one Super Dimensional Robo Daikaiser from your ride deck and ride it as Stain. If you rode, you cannot ride cards with Dimensional Robo in their card name until the end of this fight. Basically, you get to spear ride 2 grade 3 for discarding your card. I like this because you don't have to spend anything else. Whereas with the Daikaiser version, you have to get certain cards in Soul. So for whatever reason you can't get them, then you can't get it. But you do have to discard a card instead of putting a card from hand to Soul. So, I mean, that's that. Auto, when this unit is rode upon by a grade 3 with Daikaiser in its card name, call this card to rear guard. Gives you a free dude. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Daikaiser in its card name, this unit gets boost. So, you discard a card, you ride into grade 3 early. This guy calls himself out as a rear guard and he has boost. Not bad. He's an okay card. And then we got Mac Daddy Daikaiser. Super Dimensional Robo Daikaiser. Alright. So, we're going to talk about what D Legion does, and then we're going to talk about, well, let's talk about OG Legion first. So OG Legion was a mechanic from older Vanguard. It was after Limit Break format, but before Stride. And the way it worked is you would have a Vanguard called a Legion Leader. And Legion Leaders who had the ability to send any 4 cards from your drop back to deck. Then it would search the deck for the Legion Mate, which is basically the partner to that card, and it would come out onto the field and join the Vanguard, and they would both be on the Vanguard circle, making one big Vanguard. Cool thing is, you get to use the abilities of both cards. Their power was combined, not their critical and not their drop check, just their power. So they'd be pretty beefy, and the big thing was you got to send any 4 cards back to deck, so that included triggers. In this case, with D Legion, they tried to balance it out a little more. So the way it works is D Legions with Super Dimensional Robo Daikaiser. We knew this. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit may return up to 2 trigger units that are neither a heal nor over trigger, so fronts, draws, crits, along with non-trigger cards for a total of 4 cards from your drop into the deck once. Search your deck for the specified card, D Legion, and while in D Legion, the Persona Ride icon is lost for both units. Daikaiser doesn't have Persona Ride, but basically, like, since Daikaiser is technically on your Vanguard circle, you could Persona Ride Daikaiser, but they eliminated that. They didn't want us messing with that. But the way D Legion reads, you can send 2 triggers that are obviously not healed, not over. So we already covered fronts, draws, crits, and any 2 other cards. But the way it specifies, you can send up to 2 triggers along with non-trigger cards for a total of 4 cards. So even if you have no triggers in drop, you can send 4 cards back to deck just to make sure you can get your Legion. And once you're on your Legion, you don't need a Legion again. That's literally just to send more cards back to deck. That's why we're playing multiple copies of Kaiser. But again, we'll talk about that when we get into the deck. Second effect, and this is what makes Kaiser interesting. Auto Vanguard once per turn. When this unit attacks, if there is no boost for this battle, Energy Blast 3, this unit gets at the beginning of your drive step. Choose one of your opponent's guardians other than Overtrigger and retire until the end of battle. And if your bind zone has no dimensional Robo Core Kaiser, then cost bind a dimensional Core Kaiser from Soul, and this unit also gets, when your opponent's unit is retired from the Guardian Circle by this unit's ability, all of that unit's effects with cannot be hit are nullified until end of battle. So the way this guy works, on swing you would Energy Blast 3. He now gets the ability before your drive checks to retire one of your opponent's guardians. Cool. That doesn't get around the effects of perfect guards. So if your opponent perfect guards, even if you retire the guardian, you can the effect to not be hit is still there. But the second half of his effect is on swing you would Energy Blast 3, and then you would also bind Core Kaiser from your soul. That's why we need Core Kaiser, which now gives you the effect that when you retire one of your opponent's guardians, if it was a PG, you could nullify the perfect guard effect. So you hit pretty big numbers. With the way we built the deck, you can get extra critical, it's restanding, and on one of those swings, you can retire a guardian. The only thing I don't like is that they made it so you can only do the Core Kaiser effect once. Even if you somehow played a second Core Kaiser and were able to get it into the soul, you cannot use Core Kaiser again, because once you have Core Kaiser in the bind zone, that's it. It checks for Core Kaiser in the bind zone, and you only get the effect if you don't have one. If you got a way to get Core Kaiser out of the bind zone, then you could do it again, but regardless. Now let's jump into the deck. So, Super Dimensional Robo Daikaiser. This is here because of our Legion. While it's on the Vanguard Circle, we get all of Daikaiser's effects, which are, when this unit attacks, Counterblast 1, draw a card. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, choose any number of your Dimensional Robos with different card names, and they get 5k each. That includes both of your Vanguards. So you can just use a Counterblast 1 to draw and give your Vanguard 10k, along with boosting the rest of your board. Auto Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. Put a card from hand into soul, stay in this unit, and all of your Vanguards get drive -2 until end of battle. You put a card in your hand into soul, he restands. Because he's in Legion, you restand the whole Vanguard. If your bind zone does not have Dimensional Robo Goyusha and you Persona Roll this turn, bind a Dimensional Robo Goyusha from Soul, and this unit gets drive +1. We don't worry about that. We're not playing Goyusha, and we don't have Persona Rod. So it's basically Counterblast 1, pump up the board, swing, put a card from hand to soul, swing again. Now this thing is interesting. And even though it's a grade 3, and you guys know I hate decks with a shitload of grade 3s, this thing's cool. Super Dimensional Robo Shadow Kaiser. So this is a specific Daikaiser support. Act drop. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Daikaiser in its card name, and you did not ride this turn, Soul Blast 1, bind this card, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 or greater card with Daikaiser in its card name, ride it as stand and shuffle your deck. This thing is cool because it allows you to Legion multiple times, even if you don't have Daikaiser. It'll, as long as you see this thing and put it in the drop, it'll search Daikaiser for you. What's cool about this is because turn 2, you can Superior Ride into Daikaiser. Turn 3, you can Legion with Daikaiser, and then use this thing's skill, ride a new Daikaiser since you didn't ride yet, and Legion again. So if you have if for whatever reason you have a drop zone full of triggers, you can send 4 triggers back plus 4 normal units, which is pretty cool, because then you got to grab the normal units out of the deck with the order. Solid effect. Continuous Rear Guard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Daikaiser in its card name, this unit gets 5,000 power. If your order zone has 3 or more bases, it gets 10,000 power instead of 5,000 power, also active during your opponent's turn. Very easy to do. We have multiple ways to get our orders. Good. Auto Rear Guard in hand. At the beginning of the guard step of the battle, your Vanguard with Dimensional Robo in its card name is attacked. Put this card into the drop. Choose one of your units being attacked, and it gets 10,000 power until end of battle. Basically, you retire this, you get plus 10,000 power, so it's like a 10,000 shield without actually guarding, which is cool. We have our extra copies of Kaiser because we want to be able to re-ride Kaiser to Legion extra cards. We're playing 4 copies of Lady when this unit is placed on rear guard. If you have a Vanguard Dimensional Robo card name, Counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 base card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and then when it attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if your order zone has 2 or more bases, this unit gets 10,000 power. We're always going to have at least 1 base by the time we ride grade 1, and once we see a copy of her, that's 2. I'm teching in 1 copy of Dimensional Robo Dragon because it's a good defensive card. We only worry about the second effect because the first effect only when it's written on, but we're not playing Daikaiser. When this unit is placed on rearguard from soul by your card's ability, which would be the base, or if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Daikaiser in its card name, which we will for in Legion, until the end of your opponent's next turn, when your Vanguard is attacked, retire this unit, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets 15,000 power until the end of that battle, and this unit gains 5,000 power. So, good defensive card, good little beat stick. Now, this is another one I didn't know about, Dimensional Robo Directing. This one I have mixed feelings on. When this unit is placed on rearguard, if you have a Vanguard Dimensional Robo in its card name, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or greater card with Dimensional Robo in its card name, or a set order, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you reveal the card, choose a card from your hand and either put it into your soul or discard it. This thing sounds good on paper, but it's a 1-for-1. Technically, it's a -1 because you have to call it, unless you call it with an effect. And it only searches grade 3 or greater, grade 3 or set orders. So it's like, I wanted to say this is good because you don't have to wait till grade 3 to use it. You can use it as early as turn 2. But because it's so limited and because you have to get rid of a card from hand, that search effect is really not great unless you're really looking for combo pieces. The second effect is okay though. Continuous rearguard Guardian Circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Dimensional Robo in its card name, if your order zone has a base, this unit gets 5,000 power and 5,000 shield, also active during your opponent's turn. So turn 2, you're going to have this. We have 3 PGs. We're playing Balladrid because we do play a lot of grade 2 or greater cards that are good. And we play, obviously, our set orders because this thing can search a set order. During the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard and your order zone has 2 or more set orders, plus 5,000 power. So basically, turn 3, this is live. Second effect, at the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If your order zone has a set order, put this unit into soul, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 2 or greater card or a set order from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So it searches all of our big boys, all of our beat sticks, and of course, our set order, which is important. We're playing 2 copies of Dimensional Robo Die Battles. I thought about knocking this down to 1 because we can search it, but if for whatever reason it gets damaged, I would hate to lose that pressure, and we're only using it for the second effect. When this unit is placed on rearguard from your soul by your card's ability, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Daikaiser in its card name, and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, your Vanguard's original crit becomes 2. Makes sense, right? Glory Maker. This was a suggestion from chat when I was playing this deck on stream. This thing is interesting. So it gets its effects if you have a Vanguard with 1 clan, which we do. Drop when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed. If you do not have a rearguard with the same name as this card, you may call this card to the back row rearguard. That's nasty because when we Legion, we are placing a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. So we don't have to Persona Ride or anything crazy like that. We just Legion, we just do our mechanic, and this thing calls itself out. And the reason we want to call this out, because what it does is when this unit boosts, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, until the end of that battle, you may get, your opponent cannot play blitz orders, or when your opponent would call cards from their hand to Guardian, they must call 2 or more at the same time. And then if you do, at the end of that battle, retire this unit. Nasty. So you swing with the Vanguard, you put the guard breaker effect, then you restand, now you force your opponent to guard with more cards. And you stop them from using blitz orders, which blitz orders have become a pretty good defensive part of the game. For example, Freezing Wave. Choose one of your units being attacked and it gets 10,000 power until the end of battle for each rest set order in your order zone. So this becomes a maximum of 40k shield for Soul Blast 1. We are playing Protection Twin Cast. I didn't want to play one of the other Regalis pieces because we want to be able to play as many of our orders as possible, and we don't want to wait till turn 4 to have a blitz order, to have a Regalis piece order in our hand that's live. So I just figured I'd go with the defensive one. Choose one of your units being attacked, it gets 10,000 power to end the battle, and then if this card's auto ability can be resolved even if it has been resolved. Basically, if you had used this, the first effect of the Regalis piece, you can still use the second one. You remove it from the drop, you choose your Vanguard, and it gains 5k for every grade of it. So it'd be a 15k in this case. Of course, Elementary Sanctitude, it's a staple, and then our 4 bases, because our bases allow us to play the game. As far as the trigger lineup goes, I went with, obviously, Brancade Overtrigger, it's the best overtrigger in the game. 3 draws, I might up that to 4. 8 crit, 4 heal. We obviously still want to be able to heal, but crits and draws are what we're going to be sending back with Legion. Crits will win us games, but draw, this deck does have a lot of discard and or move to soul effects. So I got to be careful with how much draw power I have, because I don't know, this deck seems a little lacking on the draw power, because a lot of it's going to be calling from soul, and that's going to be us conserving. So I gotta pay attention to that. But anyway, this is the whole deck. I know I've been talking for a minute, so let's go jump into a game while we can. All right, guys, we got a game, and I'm going to choose to go second. Ooh, that's a good hand. You know what? I'm gonna keep one base. That's a solid hand. What's this? Flagberg. Interesting. I wasn't expecting Flagberg today. Now, unfortunately, there is no way to get my orders back from the drop. I might want to put in the cat for that, because I'm going to have to discard the draw trigger here. So we're going to drop and ride. Grade 1 skill is going to grab us our order. And then we're going to shuffle, and then we draw for our starter skill. So reveal, throw. Okay, not a bad hand. So we're going to play our base, and then we're going to use the base effect. So I didn't go over the base effect when I was talking about the deck, but I'll tell you guys what it does now. So base effect is you rest it, you energy charge 1, you can search your drop for a dimensional roll, put it into the soul, but if it's the turn you play that order, you can search your entire deck. So in this case, we're going to put a Daikaiser into the soul. And then we're going to go battle phase and swing. And then it has a second effect where instead of energy charging, you rest it. I'm okay with you dumping shield now. You rest it, you energy blast 2, and you can call dimensional robo from your soul. I'm sorry, a grade 2 or less. So yeah, gotta think about that a little bit. Alright. And then I'm just gonna guard the Vanguard. And I'm glad I did. Alright. What do I discard here? I guess we discard Daikaiser. I hope I don't regret that. Let me go main phase. And you know what? I'm probably going to discard Directing. No, we'll discard Daikaiser. We'll go skill, discard Daikaiser, drop and ride. Now grade 2 skill. Sorry, I'm in main phase, okay. Calls itself out. Next, we're going to use our base. Energy Blast 2, rest the base. We're going to call Daikaiser out. Daikaiser's skill, we're going to Counterblast 1. Search our deck for a base. Add it to hand. Loop. Now, we have to be careful with our energy because remember that Daikaiser does cost an Energy Blast 3. We're going to play it again. And now we're going to use it. Energy Charge 1, rest, and we're going to put another card into the soul. Whoops. Let's put Daikaiser into soul. Set up our defense. All right, and then lastly, we're gonna call these guys for a little bit more oomph, and then we're gonna go battle phase, swing and skill, energy blast 3. So now if our opponent guards, we can retire the Guardian. All right, twin drive, first check, second check. That's a heal trigger, we'll take that. I'll go here and heal 1. All right, these have plus 5k because I'm at grade 3 and have at least 2 set orders. So then we're gonna take out the rear guard. Flagbird needs its rear guards. Skill, into the soul. Check top 5. Let's grab Daikaiser. Because I think it has to be a grade 2 or greater set, a grade 2 or greater unit card. Okay, otherwise I would have grabbed the blitz order. And what does this one do? No, we're gonna attack the Vanguard here. All right, and then skill to the soul. Check top 5. Ooh, I kind of want to grab Daikaiser. It's Daikaiser or Shadow Kaiser. I'll grab Daikaiser. All right, not a bad turn. Not a bad turn too. All right, Flagberg. Now, riding to grade 3 fast is very matchup dependent because there are some decks you don't want to go to grade 3 right away. Because I mean, we have to ditch an extra card to be able to get to grade 3, which sounds great on paper. But decks like I was having a big problem with the Argo Siren because once you're at grade 3, they get 5 attacks. when you're at grade 2, then I can only get 4. So it's something you gotta think about. Something you gotta think about. All right, let's see how he does this. 13K. I'm gonna intercept with Die Lady because I'm gonna call another Die Lady. I can actually get her back and then call her again. All right, so since that was the first battle, it stands. Gets 10K power. What do we have in our drop? We already have enough cards to Legion. I'll guard this. Vanguard. We're going to use that wrecking because it is a 10K shield. All right, 33. That one I think I'll take. Ooh. Love to see it. Obviously that's not going to hit because we got the damage trigger. And now the Vanguard skill. He gets to retire 2 of my rear guards, right? And then I have to go with at least 3 cards, which we're not going to do. I don't know if I would ever got the counter charge there. No guard. Heal trigger is nice because it's this is actually a very low damage game. At least the second one doesn't work. Huh? All right. So let's do some fun things. That was weird. All right. So we obviously don't have to discard for ride now. Sorry, there was a little bit of confusion with our opponent did an extra drive check, but it's okay. We will figure this out. All right. So we have a Daikaiser in hand. We haven't seen another one, so we have one in deck. So we're gonna go main phase, and we're gonna start off like this. We want our extra critical because we definitely want to push for damage. So we're gonna go Legion. We're gonna send these back to deck. We're gonna send Kaiser back to deck. And we're gonna send a Die Lady back to deck. We're gonna search and we're going to Legion. Just adding it to hand so I can Legion it. Bang. So as I said before, when we Legion, we have combined power, so now we have 26k power. We have 6 energy. That's pretty good. Let's play our base. We're gonna use the base effect, energy charge 1, and we're gonna put Die Battles into the soul. Shuffle up. Now we're gonna go skill, energy blast 2, and we're gonna call Die Battles. Die Battles skill. Our Vanguard's gonna get a crit. Then we're gonna use the other base, rest. And we're gonna call out Die Dragon. So we have a little defensive option. And then Die Dragon's skill is now live. So plus 5k, and now he's a 15k block. And then lastly, we're gonna call Die Lady. Die Lady's skill, counterblast. And we're gonna search our deck for our last base to use next turn. Bang. And shuffle. Now we're gonna go battle phase, swing, skill, counterblast, 5k to everybody. Every different name dimensional Robo, 10k to the Vanguard because 5k for each, and we draw a card. And then skill, we're gonna energy blast 3. Glory Maker was great to get right now. All right, twin drive, first check, critical trigger. I think we go all effects to Vanguard here, so our opponent's forced to block the next one. Okay, that one we can give to the rear guard. I wasn't expecting that, but you know, Legion. All right. Go. We're gonna put a card from our hand into the soul. I don't want to put any of this into the, I guess we'll put Daikaiser. Restand, and we'll swing again. No drives. That was brutal. He's a 5. There we go, 48. All right. Skill. She's going to gain 10k when she attacks a Vanguard. Well, grade 3. 28, 43, and then we have 33 on the last column, which he has the PG for. All right. That was a good turn. I was not expecting him to go straight to 5, but I mean, I actually looking again, I didn't really see that many triggers. I saw we had 1 trigger over here and 2 in hand, and then we sent 2 triggers back to deck. Now we want to guard with these crits because we want to be able to Legion again, but we also got to figure out how we're going to get Daikaiser out of the soul. I'll intercept here. We do got to remember that this is going to force us to guard with 3 cards. We might as well take no damage. Let's go with this. So that should be a 10k guard. 23, we'll guard that. 33. We can go Dragon effects for plus 15k power. And then we'll guard with another critical. Actually, no, we'll put that in hand. We'll guard with Glory Maker. No, wait, yeah, we have to guard with that. So this gets retired. Now, hold on, we gotta take minus 15k power. So 23, in order to guard with that, I have to guard with 3 cards. Let's put me to 28, 33. You know what, let's just no guard it. If he double crits me, that's on him. All right, we're good. 1 damage. Ooh, it's a draw trigger. Ooh, Shadow Kaiser. We like Shadow Kaiser. All right. Now, what do I have for a Soul Blast? Oh, wait, Shadow Kaiser. Shadow Kaiser Soul Blast. Oh, that's fire. All right, we're going to go main phase. We're going to use Shadow Kaiser in the grave. We're going to remove Shadow Kaiser. Soul Blast our Daikaiser. And then we're going to ride Daikaiser from the deck. So when you ride a new grade 3, the Legion goes to Soul. And I believe I did that right, because it's ride from deck, right? Search your deck for, yep, okay, cool. Then we're going to, with the new one, Legion again. So we're going to send back the Legion mate, so that way we can Legion. Yeah, it doesn't actually have to be in deck, since the deck is an unknown location. Yeah, you can send it from the drop back to the deck and then Legion. And then we'll send back Lady. Yeah. And then deck search, add to hand, so that way we can then Legion again. And shuffle. Now we'll play our last base. Base effects, rest, energy charge 1. We have to be careful here because we're low on energy. So what we're gonna do is we're going to send that lady back to the soul. Then we're going to use a second one. Charge 1. And we're going to put Dragon to soul. We don't need the extra critical because our opponent's already at 5. So then we're gonna go skill, rest, and we're gonna call Dragon. Dragon's effect, he's gonna gain +5. And then last one, oh, we have the energy blast 2 for that. Then last one, call another unit. We're gonna call Kaiser Greater here. I should have called that lady, I'm stupid. It's all right. We'll call Kaiser here. Skill, he's gonna give himself 5k, and then he's gonna give 10k to my Vanguard, 5k for each. And that costs us another 2 energy, and that leaves us with 3 energy to be able to go off. And then we're just gonna call out the rest of our hand. Bag. And then he has plus 10k because we have 3 bases. Oh. So now we're gonna go battle phase, swing, skill, counterblast, draw, 5K to the front row. 5K back here. And this has 5K from its own skill, and then our Vanguard gets another additional 5K. Right? Hold on. So we were at 26. We gained 5K from each for Kaiser Glider, and then okay, yeah, so 46. Okay, and then skill, Energy Blast 3, and then we're going to bind our all right, points not guarding. Twin Drive, critical, Jesus Christ. Legion, this is what it does. Jesus Christ. Now, I know that wasn't the most meta-defining deck, but this is an example of why Legion was so powerful. Because you're constantly setting back triggers, it increases the chances of you getting triggers, much like you're playing a Raise a Hell deck. Because if you look around, I have one critical out of deck because we sent back one critical on our first Legion and then 2 more. So we had 7 criticals in deck. All right, guys, here's one more look at the build. Again, I might tweak it a little bit. If anything, I just want to increase the draw power a little bit. I like what the deck does. I like the consistency. It's super easy to pilot and get going. The only decision making you really have to make is what cards you're going to put into the soul, so that way you can call them out. You do have to manage your energy. There is a new dimensional robot that helps with it. I just wish this thing was when it's called, not just when it's called from soul, because it energy charges 1, which that 1 energy is a big deal. And then we also have this other grade 1 that can send back normal units back to deck and then power something up, but then you have to rest her, so you lose out on the boost. I was playing that originally and putting it behind the Vanguard, but Glory Maker is just a better card, because on our second swing in that last turn, we would have swung with Glory Maker, and now our opponent has to drop at least 2 cards. And no blitz orders, so. But let me know how you guys are feeling about the deck. Again, let me know if you guys want to see me do with the Daikaiser ride line, and let me know what texts and stuff you guys are trying for the deck. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Telling your opponent, guard with extra cards is just hilarious. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links will be down below. If you guys want to see me play some Cardfight Vanguard live, come by the next live stream. Next Vanguard stream will be Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I would love to have you guys. That's going to be it from me. I'll catch you guys on this video. Later.
See it in my eyes, I was born for this. I got demons on my side, you ain't high like this. I got reason to believe, I don't need it from my gifts. Only I can change the world and it go like this.